Have you ever stopped to consider why certain things make your heart race and your palms sweat? Welcome to the realm of phobias, a world where everyday objects and situations can trigger an intense, irrational fear. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down, and feeling your heart pound in your chest. That's a normal fear, a survival mechanism wired into us from our earliest days as humans. But what if that same heart-pounding terror strikes you when you see a spider, or when you have to step into an elevator? Then, my friend, you've stepped into the realm of phobias. Phobias are more than just fears. They are fears amplified, fears that have grown so large and so powerful that they can dominate your life. They're not just a fear of heights or spiders or closed spaces. They're a fear so intense that it can make you avoid certain places, situations, or things entirely. A phobia is like a fear on steroids. It's a fear that's been cranked up to 11. You don't just feel a little bit scared, you feel terror. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind races with thoughts of danger and escape. It's as if your body is preparing for a life or death situation, even though you're perfectly safe. So what's the difference between a normal fear and a phobia? It's all about intensity and impact. A normal fear is a reaction to a genuine threat. It's a survival mechanism. A phobia, on the other hand, is an intense fear of something that poses little to no actual danger. It's a fear that's out of proportion to the risk. And phobias are common, affecting millions of people all over the world. They can affect anyone, regardless of age, gender, or background. They're part of the human experience, a testament to the power of the mind and the complexity of our emotions. Phobias are not just fears, they are intense fears that can limit a person's life. But what causes these fears to become phobias? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this fascinating and often misunderstood facet of the human mind. Phobia is not a one-size-fits-all term. It encompasses a wide range of fears. Delving into the world of phobias, it's clear that these intense fears are not all cut from the same cloth. They come in various forms and affect people in different ways, each carrying its own unique set of challenges. Let's start with what's known as specific phobias. These are intense fears centered around a particular object or situation. Imagine feeling your heart race, your palms sweat, and your mind fill with terror at the sight of a spider or standing on the top floor of a high-rise building. These fears, though they may seem irrational to others, are very real and incredibly distressing to those experiencing them. Then we have social phobia, also known as social anxiety disorder. This isn't just about feeling a little nervous before a big presentation or a job interview. Social phobia is a deep-seated fear of social situations, a fear that can be so intense it can cause someone to avoid social interactions entirely. It's the fear of being judged, embarrassed, or humiliated in front of others, and it can turn even the most mundane social situations into a source of immense anxiety. Finally, there's agoraphobia. This is the fear of being in places or situations from which escape might be difficult or embarrassing, or where help might not be available. This can include a wide variety of situations, from standing in a crowded line to being outside of the home alone. It's a fear that can be incredibly limiting, often leaving those affected feeling trapped within their own homes. Each of these phobias carries its own unique set of challenges, and each is experienced differently by those who live with them. But they all share one thing in common. They are intense, irrational fears that can interfere with a person's daily life. Understanding the different types of phobias is the first step towards understanding their causes. As we move forward, we'll delve deeper into what causes these fears and how they can be treated. But for now, remember that phobias are more than just simple fears. They are complex, multifaceted, and deeply personal. Phobias seem irrational, so what causes the mind to react this way? This question has puzzled psychologists and neuroscientists for years. The answer is complex, as phobias can stem from various sources, including genetic factors, environmental influences, and traumatic experiences. Let's start with genetics. Believe it or not, your fear might not be entirely your own. Research suggests that a predisposition to fear can be passed down through generations. You see, our ancestors who quickly learned to fear dangerous situations had a better chance of survival, which led to the passing on of these fear genes. So, if your great-great-grandparent had a phobia, you might be more susceptible to developing one too. Next, we have environmental influences. These are factors in our surroundings that can trigger or exacerbate fears. For example, if you grew up in a household where a family member had a phobia, you might develop the same fear. Similarly, cultural factors can play a role. Some fears are more common in certain societies due to cultural beliefs or societal norms, but perhaps the most well-known cause of phobias is traumatic experiences. If you've ever had a terrifying encounter with a spider, you might develop arachnophobia. Or, if you've had a near-drowning experience, you might end up with a fear of water. Our brains are wired to avoid things that have caused us pain or fear in the past, and sometimes this protective mechanism can go into overdrive, resulting in a phobia. Now, an important aspect to understand is that when we encounter a fear stimulus, our body goes into fight or flight mode. This is a primal reaction that prepares us to either confront or escape a perceived threat. Our heart rate increases, our muscles tense up, and our senses become hyper-alert. In people with phobias, this reaction is extreme and often disproportionate to the actual threat. Understanding these causes is crucial because it helps us empathize with those suffering from phobias. It's not that they are being irrational. Their brain is simply responding to a perceived threat in the only way it knows how. While the causes can vary, the good news is there are ways to treat these intense fears. We'll delve into these methods in the next segment. Stay tuned. Phobias can be debilitating, but they don't have to control your life. Today, we're going to delve into the various treatment options that can help manage and even overcome these intense fears. Firstly, let's talk about exposure therapy. This approach involves gradually and repeatedly exposing you to the object or situation you fear in a safe and controlled environment. Over time, this can help reduce the fear response. For example, if you're afraid of spiders, you might start by simply thinking about spiders, then looking at pictures, and eventually, perhaps even holding one in your hand. Next, there's cognitive behavioral therapy, often referred to as CBT. This form of therapy is about changing your thought patterns and behaviors. In the context of phobias, it aims to help you understand that your fear is out of proportion to the actual danger. With guidance, you'll learn to challenge and change your fearful thoughts, and eventually, your behavior will follow suit. Medication can also be a useful tool in the treatment of phobias, particularly for those that cause severe symptoms. It's not typically the first line of treatment, but it can be beneficial in conjunction with therapy. Medications such as beta blockers, sedatives, or antidepressants may help manage physical symptoms of anxiety and fear. Now, it's important to note that not all phobias require treatment. If your fear doesn't significantly interfere with your life, treatment may not be necessary. However, if a phobia is disrupting your daily routine, causing intense distress, or preventing you from doing things you want or need to do, it's time to seek professional help. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to treating phobias. Different people respond to different treatments, and what works for one person may not work for another. It's crucial to work with a healthcare professional to find the right treatment plan for you. With the right treatment, overcoming a phobia is entirely possible. So don't let your fears hold you back. Reach out, seek help, and take control of your life. Phobias are more than just extreme fears. They are a mental health issue that impacts millions. As we've explored today, these intense, irrational fears can take many forms and be triggered by a range of factors. We've delved into the various types of phobias, which include specific phobias, social phobias, and agoraphobia. Specific phobias are those fears related to certain objects or situations, such as spiders or heights. Social phobias involve a fear of social situations or interactions, while agoraphobia is a fear of being in places or situations from which escape might be difficult. The causes of phobias are also diverse, often rooted in a combination of genetic factors, brain chemistry, and traumatic experiences. It's crucial to remember that while these fears may seem irrational to those who don't share them, they are very real and often debilitating for the people who experience them. And of course, we've discussed the various treatments available for phobias. These include cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps individuals change their thought patterns and behaviors, exposure therapy, which gradually exposes individuals to the object or situation they fear in a safe environment, and sometimes medication. What's key here is understanding. Phobias are not simply a case of someone being overly dramatic or attention-seeking. They are a serious mental health issue that can drastically affect a person's quality of life. It's essential that we as a society approach those dealing with phobias with empathy and understanding, rather than judgment or dismissal. Phobias can be challenging, but they are not insurmountable. With the right help, individuals can learn to manage their fears and lead fulfilling, fear-free lives. It's a journey that requires patience, courage, and support, but it's one that can lead to a brighter, more empowered future. Remember, fear is human, and with understanding and the right help, it can be conquered.